Karunalayam Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad-vyapta Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If we look into the various words we employ to communicate, we see any language, we see there are words talking about attributes, substantives. Flower, substantive. Then rose flower, red flower. Then you have the rose itself can be a substantive. You can say red rose. So attribute, substantive. Action in terms of time, past, present and future, action. Then there are other words we have, names of places, names of people and so on, proper nouns and so on. Then certain words talking about our emotions, like love, compassion, sympathy, anger, and so on. We have words describing our emotions. Then we have words even, of angas, different angas. These are all, they come under substantives. Liver, kidney, and so on. Angas. So we can say the words are different types of words we have. There are certain other words which do not really have an object. See, when you say green leaf, green is a quality which you can see in that leaf. It's a green leaf. Red flower, you can see the red color in that flower. A big mountain, you can see the bigness of the mountain. But you cannot see anything. There are words like that. You can't see it. You say beautiful. You can't see anything beautiful, but your response, your appreciation, you say this is beautiful. The other fellow wonders why he says this is beautiful. Because his concept of beauty is different. Understand? Culture-wise, it's all different. Like in America, if all your cheekbones are out, visible, and then you can play string on the ribs, then considered to be the most beautiful person. And in India, such a person will be looked upon as power. It's anemic and this is, it's something like a skeleton walking with some skin on, you know. So they don't consider there is anything. This is beautiful. Cultural differences. So the concept of beauty is highly subjective. And anyway, so this is all, still there is something to say. There is still something to see. You can say whether it is beautiful or not. That's why this word beautiful, etc., you will not. It has to be used, these words have to be used very, very carefully. Now, all this, of course, you can express your wonderment and saying awesome. You know, this typical American. Awesome. And you express your response to something. It's all appreciable, understandable. But I would like, there are still some words we use for which there is no real object. There is no object, there's just some kind of your emotional response, your appreciation of something. No. It is entirely different. Like, this is false. When you say, this is false, what is the object there? There is no object. A statement, this is false. A square circle. What do you think about it? The square circle. What do you think about it? A circular square. What do you think about that? That's a little for a change, you know. A circular square. Words are there, but there is nothing to think about. Why? Because it doesn't exist, it is non-existent. So what is non-existent? Is there anything there? No. So what is that word non-existent? In Sanskrit, tucham. Non-existent. It's not an object, it's not a quantity, it's not a quality, it's not action, it's not your wonderment, your emotion. I love this non-existent thing. It's not, it is your understanding of a certain holy combination, unholy combination. How do you say holy combination? Unholy combination of what? Square exists, a circle exists, but square circle don't exist. All non-existent things, if you analyze, they are compounds. They are always unholy compounds. Turtle hair. Rough eggshell. A rough eggshell, you know, doesn't exist. So far I have not seen, okay? There are a lot of things which don't exist. Always combination. So we used to give a stock example, Vandya Putraha. These days I don't use because they will have some kind of putra. This is all bamboo. So don't use this Vandya Putra, etc. I gave it up. Then we have to put all classes. Vandhya means the one who never gave birth to a child. Son of that woman who never gave birth to a child. You can have. The surrogate mother and all that, So you can have. My own son, somebody rented the place for the child to grow and then came out. So this is available for rent. Therefore you can say, my own son, Vandhya but putra, mama putra. Therefore, be careful. These old examples don't work here. I don't use that anymore. And you cannot say, he's a foolish, intelligent man. It's a new thing I have created now. He is a foolish, intelligent man. He is a bad saint. All these are all contradictions. You say, such things don't exist. A lot of things like that. All combinations. This is all what I want to say. They are all combinations. Non-existent thing is only a combination. Certain combinations don't exist. Think of a non-existent thing which doesn't combine with something. It doesn't exist. It will become Brahman, I tell you. That is why in Indian mathematics, there is no zero. We have no zero. We have only pujyam. Zero is shunyam. But we don't call it shunyam, pujyam. Only when you give marks to that fellow, zero, shunyam. His code is shunyam. But really what he got was puja. So puja means like, suppose you take one, a unit, and then you divide it. Let us get to 0. 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, 0.001, you can keep on telling and then hand over your effort to your grandson also. Son, grandson, and everybody. Let them repeat for generations. You will never get to 0. Correct? There will be no 0. Puja. Your effort will go to infinity. That's all. That is what infinity is. You never come to an end. Therefore, 0 we don't accept because the one who says there is 0 is existing. There is no 0. There is no abhava. There is no shunya. Because shunya implies the presence of a person who talks about shunya. In fact, when you say shunya, you only say I exist. Neither subject nor object. So neither object nor subject is shunya. That shunya is satyam. That is what we are going to talk about later. That is puja. But I say, all your non-existent thing that you talk about is an unholy compound. Then there are words that we reveal, which don't reveal an object. Then what is that? Word like false. False. What do you mean by false? It's not an object. False is not an attribute also. Sticking to something. It is your understanding of something as false. It doesn't exist again. But it's a false statement. It is false. It was a false perception. It's a false statement. God came to me in dream and told me that he never comes in dreams. How is that? One whole religion is based upon God coming in dream. Really. But to me what happened, God came in dream and told me that I never come in dreams. What is it? What do you get out of it? It's a false statement. Understand? It's a false statement. The statement is there, but it is false. Certain perceptions are false. In dream, whatever that we see is false. If we create a philosophy in dream, that also is false. Understand? Unless it is right. Okay? If it is right, already you had figured it out and you saw it in dream. But what I say is false. So my own projection, there is no relevant object and therefore you say it is false. Or even in dream, if there is a statement that is true, it is true. Suppose in dream if you say water boils in 100 degrees centigrade, it is true. It is true. In dream it is true, in waking it is true. Water flows finding its own level. If you say it, if you say in dream, and here also it is true, there also it is true. Correct? And therefore, a true statement is a true statement. A false statement is a false statement. And therefore, and sometimes a perception is falsified. You see one thing and later, in the wake of better knowledge, what you see, your perception is falsified. And therefore, we have to use a word. What? Because human experience being there in terms of epistemological activity, in terms of knowing, you need to have a word, and that word is false. You need to have a word non-existent, bilkul non-existence. But this is false perception. A snake exists and a rope exists, but the rope is being seen as snake. That is false perception. Swakale satyavad bhati prabodhe sati asad bhavet. Swakale satyavad bhati. And in its own time it is like truth, but then afterwards it becomes false. And therefore, you need to have a word, false. What is that word? It is a word revealing your understanding of a thing being false. You understand? This is all understanding words. In terms of what? In terms of reality. This is false. Suppose you say, I see, therefore it exists. Suppose you say, I see, therefore it exists. That means all that we require is to see. So in dream also you see, here also you see a lot of things which don't exist, and you don't see it exist. That's why your hands are clean. Why hands are clean? Because you don't see anything else. And if you have a microscope, you can't do anything. With these hands, you will carry the hands like this and go. You won't touch yourself. And you will never shake hands with others. You have to sterilize your hand all the time. Some people are like that. It becomes compulsive. The whole day the fellow washing his hands. And so what I say, that just because you see, it doesn't exist. Just because you don't see, it doesn't cease to exist. Therefore, you should know that in fact what you see is always different from what is. You see one side, there is a back side you have to think of. Okay? What you see is very silly. And you don't see anything. You see a small star, which is good enough for making a song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. That is all okay. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Little star? It is a little star. But it is not little. It's different. So what you see is little. In fact, what you see is not even a little. You don't see anything proper. Everything ulta, distorted. Things that exist you don't see. Things that exist also you don't see as they are. Unless you are able to see all the sides at the same time, is useless. You don't know your own body, you don't know properly. So you have to figure out the back must be there, okay. You have to. And therefore you don't see, you see very little. Okay? Let me concede. You see something. And therefore it's a false statement. I see, therefore it is, it's a false statement. So like this we have a number of illogical statements also. Not only perception, inferentially also we make howlers, not mistakes. We make howlers. Howlers means, a mistake for which you howl, not laugh, understand? So that kind of mistake, they're called howlers. So we commit such colossal mistakes, inference mistake, perception mistakes. And if your eardrum is not working, the whole world is silent. Why people are not talking now? and there's a big dynamite goes off. A dynamite goes off, and this fellow standing there, what is that smoking there? Everybody is closing the ears. In the poher dengra. So this fellow, he is saying, what is it that's smoking there? His world is full of silent world, understand? His world is all one silence. And some people, this is another thing, some people are tone deaf. One is tone deaf, the other is, stone deaf means deaf like a stone. The other one is tone deaf. So tone deaf means the person thinks I sing proper, in harmony with every other person. But the fellow is out. He is out in some pitch. So different. He joined the Gandharvas. And this some celestial pitch. There's nothing to do with the local pitch, understand? And so this fellow is singing. Deaf. And he thinks he is in harmony with everybody else. This is exactly, only God can stand this Jaya Jagadishagare in any temple. In any temple. Jaya Jagadishagare, before Bhagavan, when they begin to sing, only Bhagavan can handle that. Nobody can handle. And the important person, the temple, there is always an important person in all these temples. There is one important person. Means what? The one who started with $50,000, he said he will pay over 25 years. And he was the first one. Became the secretary and became the president, permanent president. And his wife will start. Her pitch is celestial pitch. No human being can really. And then she will start. And everybody has to follow that. It's all self-glory. They build a temple for their own glory. Not Bhagavan's glory. Mera kar. No. I did this. That's called North Indian temple, North American temples. Okay. Not all of it. What about this? Don't ask me. This is for your own glory, because it's not mine anyway. So it's more a learning place. What I say, there are things that we think they exist, they don't exist. We think they don't exist, they exist. This person doesn't see any disharmony in the pitch, but then there is a problem. And therefore, the human perception is highly inadequate. And based upon perceptual data, you make inferences, they become further. That is only the extended mistake. Perception is mistake. On that basis, another mistake you committed is an extended mistake. Nothing, therefore we do require a word to tell the mistake. A mistake in conclusion, a mistake in perception, a mistake in inference, a wrong step inference. You have to have a false, you have to call the bluff, and when you have to call the bluff, therefore you have a word called a bluff. Understand? You call the bluff, you call it false. Bluff doesn't have an object. It is your understanding of a statement, of a perception, of a perception, of a conclusion. And therefore, we need to have an ontological word, false, revealing our understanding. Understand? This is not an object. It is about an object, about your perception. That is object, about your perception, about your conclusion. We say it is false. Therefore, so once you say false, then something will come. This is true. Correct? This is true. This is true. This is real. This is the real thing. So this is the real thing. What is the real thing? Coke. The real thing. Real thing. So you need to have a word to point out your understanding, to reveal your understanding of something being true, the word true. I have no other way of saying it. So it is true. This is real. This exists. And therefore, now, understand, 3 words let us take. There are synonyms, but we want only 3 words for our purpose. And one is non-existent, equivalent, tucham. I'm going to give up the English words. Therefore, make note of the Sanskrit word. English words are a little confusing to me. And therefore, tucham. Explain it is okay. Tucham. Non-existence. Square circle. You know, we come to the same square now. Square circle. False. Foolish, intelligent man. Or we can say something false, a perception. Rope snake is false, that is better. Rope snake, false. It's false. Rope is real. Snake is real. Correct? Snake is real. Don't think every snake is rope snake. You'll get into trouble. It's better to take the rope for snake and run away, but you can't take the snake for rope. Understand? And therefore, every snake is real as long as it is a snake. So snake is real. Rope is real. This, in the place where rope is, atasmin, where there is no snake, you see snake. Atasmin tad buddhihi. Clean definition. It's not the rope is mistaken for snake. No. You can take snake for anything. Anything can be taken for snake. Therefore, a non-snake, that is the definition. A non-snake is taken for snake. Non-snake can be anything. Can be water hose. It can be streak of water. It can be a cleavage on the earth. It can be just some rope. Some mala. Flower, garland, drying, lying there. Somebody threw away, then you take it for snake. So anything can, therefore we say, atasmin tad buddhihi. Atasmin, in not that. Means where it is not, that object that you see is not there, tad buddhihi, that recognition, that is called adhyasa, that is false. Atasmin tad buddhihi. Then from that you can understand, then what is real? Tasmin tad buddhihi. So tasmin tad buddhihi. So what is there, and that you take it as it is, correct? So tasmin tad buddhihi is real. Real snake is there, sarpe sarpa buddhihi. Rajja rajju buddhihi. Buddhi means recognition, cognition. And therefore, so on if there is a sarpa, if there is a serpent, then you take it as sarpa. Real. This is how we live our life. Why? Because what is non-existent, you don't go after. What is false, you are not supposed to go after. But you go after. There is pravritti, there is nivritti also. You go after, you run away from. Like what? If there is a currency. They say in America, the currency printed, as for this monopoly game is more than the real currency printed. Really? You can think of how many billions of dollars they print for monopoly. This is a piece of information yesterday I read, thanks to Christy. So I read this information. They say that the amount of money printed, monopoly money printed, false money printed, is much more than real money. So you see the money. It is green paper. It has got everything. But it's not money. It's not money. Therefore what? When that money is lying there somewhere, you say, hey, you have to, if you want to slow down the people's walking, then all that you do, put one $10 here and another $100 there, and another, all monopoly only. Then this fellow will think, oh, somebody is dropped. So he goes on picking one after the other. Then later he thinks that today is a good day. I got $250. Fellow it's a good day. It's a nice, good morning. Until he discovers, or he is made to discover. Sometimes you have to make him, he goes to Sunday, he goes to the, across there is one, what do we call that? Flea market. Yeah, across we got a flea market. Really good flea market, you all should go and try. So flea market, after lunch you go and see. It's a real flea market. So you got a lot of things you get for nothing. People get different things for $2 and $4 and things. You go and a lot of people. All these Indians go there. Who come from, especially from India here, they go there. I tell them also, go. They go. Okay. There you try. Your luck, today's luck, you try there. And even though these fellows are free market fellows, they are street-wise people, and they know, what are you doing? Do you think this is money? Yeah, this is money. Go somewhere. Then only you discover. Then you should see the fellow's face. The good morning became a foolish morning, okay? Finished. What does it mean? That means pravritti without the value being there. For what pravritti means? Positive pursuit. What was the positive pursuit for? For money. And because the money value is there. So it is a simple piece of paper he won't do. If he picks up, it is meant only to drop it somewhere. But definitely there is no pravritti. That I want it pravritti. That is there because there is value. Later when he discovers it is useless, then that is gone. It is just piece of paper. Therefore, just understand here, to have pravritti, to go after, there need not be anything real. All that is necessary is your perception. Correct? To go after something, your perception. That's how you get married also. All that is required is your perception, which you find is not true after one full moon is over. Why after full moon is over? Because you don't call any more honey. Therefore, it is over. No more honey. It's vinegar. Well, what I say, so this is what we say, false. Whole life is full of false pursuits. False pursuit. I don't know how we really live. So false pursuit. And then you become the loosened problem. Okay? So false pursuit. You buy this stock, it will go up. So this is called, see how we live. This is purely out of some special human hope. False pursuit, pravritti without value. All right. Nivritti also, you are afraid of certain things which are no sources of fear at all. Our own projections, our own imagination, our own needs and fears create nightmares, create all shadow enemies, like Don Quixote. In India we have to say Don Quixote. Don Quixote. And that fellow, how he fights with shadows. And the same way, we fight with shadows. In fact, all our fears are not valid. Almost all our fears are valid. Right? Vedanta will say there is no reason for fear at all. Finish. Vedanta will say. But I'm talking relatively. All our fears are, almost all our fears are not valid. That is the truth. And so we have false pursuits. We think they are real. Yeah, the very thing that makes you pursue is wrong. It's false perception. It's false conclusion. Perception may be true in one way. This is money, real money maybe. This is real money. But that will give me security is a false conclusion. Perception that it is money is true. But the conclusion is wrong. That it will give me security forever. That's not true. And therefore, there are a lot of things like this that make us both going after, make us go after, and also run away from. That is why we have two examples. One is rope snake, the other is shell silver. They are all just for these two types of pravritti. One is running away from, the other is going after. Therefore, we have two stock examples. And then real things. From Coke onwards, real things, there are a lot of real things. Understand? They're all real things. The chair is real, the table is real, the earth is real, the air is real, everything is real, your kidney is real, that's why it gets into problems. Liver is real, it gets into problems. In fact, anything that gets into problems is real. That's our definition. It's a wonderful definition. Therefore, what is real? Anything that gets into problem. I am a real person. Why? Because I become sad. In fact, that is the modern psychologist's way of looking at a human being. That this fellow is sad and therefore he is real. You are real. Madam, you are real. Why? Because you are sad. That's why you are real. If you are not real, you won't be sad. You are sad. You have fear. You have anxiety. This is all real. It makes you a real person. In fact, there is no friendship between the two unless one tells all one's anxieties to the other, one's fear to the other. Then only there is friendship. Otherwise, it is one way. The other tells, this one doesn't tell. And that means there is no friendship because it is unreal. Real means what? You should tell all your woes to the other. Hey, suppose the person doesn't have the woes, such person doesn't exist. Understand? Doesn't exist, such a person doesn't exist. And since such a person doesn't exist, and therefore that means what is the reality? What is the reality definition? The one who is subject to all troubles is real. You understand our reality now? And therefore the religious man comes and tells, yes, you are subject to a lot of problems. You are subject to imperfections. In fact, you do not know. You are born of original sin. You have inherited Adam, Eve's sin. How? Any model you take, it is inheritance. Don't you accept genetic continuity? They try to talk some science, Even the theologians talk some science. Sometimes. Don't you accept there is a genetic continuity? There is genetic continuity. That's the original sin. But I am told that I am from monkeys. I am evolved from monkeys. Therefore, do you say monkeys committed the original sin? Do you say Adam and Eve were monkeys? No, they were not monkeys. Then how can you talk about genetic continuity? If you use science, then use science all the way. The Arakora science and therefore, this is half science. Don't quote me. Idiot, don't quote me. Full science. Go all the way up to monkeys and snails and octopus. Go aquatic animals, etc. Go all the way to amphibian and then aquatic and then no life at all. Suddenly something happens. Go to that first unicellular single cell organism. Go there. Then go to forces, etc. Go, Big Bang. All the way go to Big Bang. And beyond Big Bang. In fact, I will join you. That's science. Otherwise, don't talk to me anything. You confine to your belief. The Adam and Eve, came one day, God created an apple tree, Then he put some apples there, And then he said, don't touch the apples, which was a wrong thing to do. Because if you put an apple tree and then an apple and you leave it alone, then it is okay. Nobody is going to touch the apple, may touch, may not touch, probably may not touch at all. But then if you say don't touch, then God needed some simple human psychology. He committed a great psychological mistake by giving orders that they cannot obey. And therefore all these problems all started. They were disobedient to God. Kya baat hai? What, is he playing game or what? So then they come and tell you that you are imperfect, you cannot solve problems, you are subject to trouble, and there are more troubles waiting for you. After death you'll go to hell. Oh, okay, hell, that should be a nice place. No, it's not a nice place. In America there is a place called hell. Do you know that? We really checked up. So one of our students wrote a letter to the postmaster hell. And then he wanted to get the envelope cancelled. And so he sent a stamped and self-addressed envelope along with the letter, please cancel it and send it. He wanted to have that stamp, hell stamp. But the postmaster said, we don't have any such arrangement. From the hell, straight letter he got. So
that place was shown in the television too recently.
Hell is local.
No, it was shown in the television. That place is here.
That place, it was shown?
In
Yeah.
TV.
In TV.
She says in TV they showed that place.
Yeah.
Televised it.
Yeah, I know, there is a hell. Naturally, I mean, it's to be televised anyway. Now, after all, hell is not such a bad place. So why not? Let me go to hell, it's not a problem. No, this is not local hell. This is non-local. It is something different. What different? That will be nice to go to a different place. No, it will be hot. Okay. Is it going to be hot more than Saudi? Yes. It is more hot. You'll be hot. You don't know how hot. You will become, roasted. That's okay. One roast after all, okay. No, you will stay there eternally. How? I get roasted, that's over. No. No, look at the logic. Look at the logic. You won't get roasted. I won't get roasted? No. So I will stay there eternally? Yes. That means I will remain as I am? Yes. Then I will suffer? Yes. Well, how I remain as I am and suffer without a change? That means I have no problem in hell. If I am going to be eternal, I will not undergo a wee bit change. It's wonderful. It's going to be a nice hell, eternal hell. Then you have to say what? No. No, they have to shout. Then you become a theologian, okay? Become a theologian. Theologian means what? Reason to the winds. Cast the reason to the winds and talk. and talk with different air. That's called theology. I have to tell all these things because it has caused so much problem to all of us. September 11 was not due to some five fellows, I tell you. September 11 is due to centuries of wrong thinking in terms of God and religion. Centuries of wrong thinking. Nourishing that wrong thinking is centuries and centuries. Anyway, this is all what we have. The religious person doesn't come and really change anything. He says, yes, you are subject to suffering because you are real. Everything is real. This is all we have got, three words. One is non-existent, the other is false, the third is real, true, truth. Now, in Sanskrit we will say, the third one is Satyam, the middle is false, and the first is Tucham. False is Anritam, let us say. Anritam. Asat, you can say, even Asat. One is Sat, the other is Anritam. Anritam and or Asat for the time being, Anritam. And the other one is Tucham. I have now a small work for you to do. You have to tell me, this is a real test for you. You have to tell me whether this pot is non-existent tucham. No. Is it false? Like rope snake? No. Then it is what? Satya. This is Satya. That's all what we know. This is how we live our life. This is how all the religions also propound their theologies. So this is the Satyam. The pot is Satyam. The table is Satyam. Everything that is Satyam, subject to trouble. Every trouble is Satyam. And therefore this is what we know. All religions come under this. Including our Udupi. If you don't understand also, it's okay. All religions come under this. It's all Satya. I have got something to ask you. I agree with you. It is not Tucham. What is not Tucham? It is not Anritam, false. And it is Satyam, you say. But then how come this pot is Satyam and this flower is Satyam? Without seeing the pot, I see flower. Without seeing the flower, I see pot. And therefore both are Satyam. So one Satyam, another Satyam, that is fine. But how come I cannot see the pot without seeing the substance clay? How? Not only I cannot see, I cannot imagine. Just to try to imagine a pot without substance. Imagine. You are such an imaginative person anyway. Imagine. Imagine a pot without thinking of the substance. Imagine. You can't even imagine. You have made all the animals talk. Wisdom. Imagine. Ninja turtle. Imagine. You can't imagine. You can't imagine. In fact, you can't imagine anything you know without thinking of something else. You think of a shirt without fabric. Yes, Swamiji, I can think of a shirt without fabric. What? I can think of a shirt, disposable shirt, paper shirt, newspaper shirt. You know, that avarahu shirt. So you can wear a shirt like that. But don't think of newspaper. Don't think of a gunny bag. Don't think of jute or anything. Just imagine a shirt without fabric. Think of a fabric without yarn. Think of yarn without fibers. Think of anything without you. Kuch na kuch hona chahiye. Don't worry about it. And therefore, my part is in trouble. Pot without this substance clay, you can't think of. How? Here I can do this. I can think of flower without pot. Then we can say, this is Satyam, this is Satyam. 1 plus 1, correct? But here, one part I think of, and without thinking of clay, I can't think of. Therefore, I should say, between the pot and clay, there is some kind of connection. One fellow said, pot is the cause, clay is the effect. Clay is the effect. True, clay is the effect which is in your head, okay? So this is, a pot is not cause and clay is effect. Clay is the cause and pot is effect. It's wonderful. You seem, your brain works, okay? Your brain mind works. Clay is the cause, pot is the effect. What is the distance between effect and cause? That's what I want to know. Kuch na kuch hona chahiye na. There must be some physical distance, effect, where the effect is pot and clay is cause. What is the physical distance? 1 inch? 2 inches? No. Then what? No distance. There is no distance. If there is no distance, do you know what I hear? I am a Swami, you know. I hear different things, voices. I hear what you don't say also I hear. Do you know what I hear? I hear when there is no distance between pot and clay, I hear pot is clay. That is what I hear. If there is no distance between pot and clay, I hear pot is clay. If pot is clay, then I can say clay. If pot is clay, then I can say clay is pot. If pot is equal to clay, I can say clay is pot. In other words, pot has got another synonym called clay. You can call it pot, you can call it clay. Both are same. Like you can call it water, you can call it aqua. You can't say, please bring me a glass of water and put some aqua. Unless between the two there is some understanding, deep understanding. In India it happens like that. And therefore, so aqua is water and clay, water is water. Synonyms, there's no change. Now, here look at this one. Pot is clay, clay is pot. They are synonyms. That means what? Synonyms means wherever there is clay, there will be what? Pot. Wherever there is clay, there will be pot. That is not true. That is not true. If you say it is true, then I should take your head is a pot. So naturally, it's a problem. And therefore, so this pot is clay, correct? But clay can be anything. Clay is a lump of clay, is a powder of clay. It is a lid or it is a jar It can be anything. It's all clay. Therefore, I have to say, pot is clay, but clay is not pot. Therefore, word Satyam, to what I will attribute? Cheppandi Pandal garu. So please, so to what will I attribute this Satyam, this ontological word? It has nothing to do with pot or clay. It is my understanding. That is why the whole blessed thing is cognitive, nothing but being cognitive it is. Just cognitive. There is no frill attached. Sheer seeing. Sheer seeing. That's all. You have to see. What is the seeing here? If pot is clay and clay is not pot, I must give the Satyam either to clay or to pot. And invent another word for my revealing my understanding of its reality. Of the other, for the other. Tell me now, pot is Satyam? Yes? Pot is Satyam? No. That's what you said in the beginning. This is what everybody says. The theology says also. Pot is Satyam. Then what about clay? You can't say clay is false. If clay is false, then pot is also false because pot is clay. And therefore you have to say Satyam before pot was. Now, little more clearly. So before the pot was created, let us say, created as it were, then what was there? Clay. After the pot is broken and then even powdered, what will be there? Clay. Before clay, after clay. Now what? Now clay disappeared? Disappeared where? I will ask you where? Disappeared where? Here. Disappeared into here. I mean disappeared. It is an added clay, understand? It's not a new arrival. Therefore, what I say, this clay is now pot. Pot is clay. The weight of pot will become very clear now. The weight of pot is the weight of clay. The touch of pot is the touch of clay. What can I do now? You need not do anything, okay? All the time, what can I do now? Hey, you don't do anything. Please see something, okay? What do I see here? Ask the question. Always, what can I do now? That is a wrong question. What do I see here? What do I see here? I see here. What is clay? The weight of pot, the weight of clay. All that is here is clay. And therefore, I will say the pot is on the clay. On the clay there is nothing. This was on the clay. This was on the clay. Now it's gone. Suppose pot is on the clay, I can remove it. I don't remove it. It's not on the clay. It's not in the clay. It's not off the clay. Understand? It is not off the clay, it is not on the clay, it is not in the clay. Now what are you going to say? Pot is clay. Therefore, clay is Satyam. Karanam, you said Karanam, you said, cause? That cause is Satyam. Wow. Then what about pot now? What? Pot is false? Pot is not false. Pot holds water. Understand? Your understanding of false cannot be imputed to this pot. Because this holds water. Therefore, your statement, it is false, won't hold water. So this holds water. Therefore, it is not false. It is not tucham, correct? Your original conclusion was correct. It is not false, it is not tucham. It is not satyam either. Therefore, what it is? It is, you have no word. For want of another word, there are so many religions. For want of another word, we have so many problems. For want of another word, we need a word. And that word alone is everything. Your shirt, otherwise you lose your shirt. Your shirt is that word. The clothes you wear, that word. Even your body is that word. You can't think of body without cells. Cells are not body. Body is but cells. You can't think of a cell without its constituents. They themselves do not make a cell. They have to be together in a certain way. Everything is like this. Any one thing you think of, your car or whatever. Therefore, we are missing out everything because of absence of one word. One single word. Word means understanding. For me, word reveals my understanding. I have a word because I have understanding. We didn't have a word like hard, what is that, software. We didn't have a software. Previously we had a hardware. Hardware means what? All these iron rods and padlocks and nails is called hardware store. That's what we used to get. Now hardware is entirely different. Even your brain is hardware. Brain is hardware, and what does it do is software, which is full of bugs. Understand? So because we have something, therefore we need a word. Every time you invent something, you create a word. And therefore, even if for a cyclone we give a word, and there they share it. One is woman, the other is man. Because both can be cyclones at some time. It's very interesting. It's all American. And so what I say, there is no necessity to make a name, to give a name. We have to give a name. It's okay. Then you give a man's name, and previously, originally they gave only woman's name. The woman's lib fought for it. 50-50. I am also cyclone, you are also cyclone. You are Hamesha cyclone, I am Kabhi Kabhi cyclone. Anyway, so all our problems are due to absence of a word. What is that word? Let us say the word. Let us say mithya. Then you say, oh, I know that. What do you know? What do you know? Mithya. Mithya means false. False we have already dismissed. Mithya, false we know. Mere word mithya has got the meaning of false. That is true. Word mithya has got some other meaning also. So false is already covered mithya. This pot is not false, it holds water. This is where people miss the boat, miss the bus also, miss the train, miss the flight. Because mithya, the word, has got both the meanings. It has the meaning of false, it has the meaning of the reality of pot, the reality of flower, the reality of car, the reality of everything, the reality of your brain. Everything. And therefore, therefore, when you talk of reality, it is not an object. Understand? It covers the whole thing. That's called reality. Anything that exists depending upon something is the reality we are talking about. Doesn't exist by itself. And that it is not even an attribute to the thing. We will look into that when we come back. And therefore, this part must have a word. Then you can't say, why should I have a word? Hey, this is what you are dealing with every day. All your pursuits are based upon your understanding of this reality. You can't say that I need not know and then I've got a lot of things to do. All the things that you have got to do are due to, and the anxiety and the fear, etc., apprehensions, all because of not knowing this word. And therefore, you should know what it is. I say it is mithya. Mithya means what? You can't take it as satyam, you can't take it as false or tucham, and that is called mithya. Otherwise called asat. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayorapi drishtontaha, tvanayos tattva darshibhihi Gita, which we will see when we come back. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.